Today here at E-MTB Review, I'm going to review this e-bike, the Aventon Aventure.2. What is it? It is an all-purpose e-bike that retails for $1,899. If you're not exactly sure what you want to do with an e-bike, commute, do some exploring, do some trail riding, this is kind of the SUV of e-bikes with its big fat tires, very burly construction. It can kind of do it all, so it might be for you. It has 4-inch tires, so it can go anywhere, even in the path less taken, so to speak. It comes in traditional bike and step-through. We have the step-through right here. Built-in bike rack. It has all internal cables underneath here, and it has a range of about 60 miles when you're at the low power. And finally, it has a payload limit of 400 pounds. So if you're a heavy guy or a medium guy with a lot of racks and luggage that you want to carry here or here, this thing can go 400 pounds. As the name suggests, this is the version 2 of the Adventure, and version 2 is always better, right? So I'm going to go through all the differences between version 1 and 2, the ones that are key, but there is one very notable one called the torque sensor. I'm going to leave that last and go into detail into that one. So what are the differences? Number one, we now have signal lights, left and right signal lights. Instead of doing this and getting your hands out of the wheel, is right here. Signal lights are right here. And what they do is they flash for about 15 seconds, maybe 15 times, and they just turn off. So a nice and visible and a really cool addition to let vehicles and other riders know what your intentions are. You know, in my experience, you are a lot safer when everyone knows what you're going to do. It's when bikes surprise the vehicles or other riders that accidents happen. Another key difference is the packaging is even more mature. Every time I get a box from Aventon, which is a consumer direct company, by the way, I'm just surprised at the progress that they make. And this one is unlike anything I've seen before. You know, everything has its place. There's no opportunity for the bike to get scratched. And when you open it up, it tells you a barcode so you can watch a video on what to do next. And the tools, the accessories are laid out so well that it's really world class. And being a mountain bike reviewer, I received $10,000 bikes, $14,000 bikes in the mail, and let me tell you, the packaging on this is better than a lot of those bikes. Another key difference is the position of the brake lights is now changed. It used to be here, kind of diagonal. Now it's there, where it can be seen more visibly, where the signal lights are, and it's kind of tilted, so quite a bit better. So there's no need for a light on the fender. Even when you have some packs, that light should be visible. Another difference is the modes are a little bit different. Now you have Eco, Tour, and Turbo. I believe there's 4 modes instead of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know, it's just a lot where the industry is going with letting people know not just the number, but kind of matches the style of riding that they're going to do on that particular time. And really, the next one is just a summary of the details. It's in the details. The Aventon, they're saying these are not cheap bikes. They're not low-cost bikes. They're just great value bikes, but they're going to make them as good as they possibly can. So the rack is now world-class. When you see close-up pictures of this, you're like, wow, that's an under $2,000 bike. Pretty amazing, the construction on this bike and how it's attached. We now have the derailleur guard, so in case you drop it, it's a bit of force. This is a 77-pound bike. If you drop it, that can get damaged. It helps in shipping as well. And then the connectors right here is very industrial. You know, no water ingress is going to happen with there. The kickstand, I'm not sure if it's new, but it looks beefier than ever, and it's way back there. So you could pedal, you can oil your chain and whatnot while it's resting on the kickstand. All right, and finally, the last difference, which I saved the best for last, is the torque sensor. The torque sensor is like night and day to most people, and I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you what it is. I see so many people talking about it, but they don't really understand what a torque sensor is. A torque sensor is a device, usually in your bottom bracket or your hub, that tells the computer how much work the rider is putting into. So it's a pressure sensor really. It measures how much pressure you're putting in watts, and basically it's measuring the pedal effort of the rider. And why is that important? Because these are bicycles. You know, if you just want to moped along, you know, use the throttle, you don't need the torque sensor. But as a bicycle, an assist bicycle, the motor needs to understand you, the rider, and say, hey, I'm going to match you up. You know, if you're putting in like 3 watts of power, you know, I'll give you a little bit. But if you're putting in 300 watts of power, I'm going to give you a lot. And that's the main job of the torque sensor, is assist when assist is needed. So what they have is a bottom bracket torque sensor. It's about a $100 device. So it adds to the cost, and it has to be integrated to the whole programming of the brain right here. So what are the effects of the torque sensor? First and foremost, it's a more natural ride. Instead of a lot of surging like riding a scooter and whatnot, this thing is, you just ride, and then if you decide to use the motor, the assist, you'll just turn on just a little bit at a time. So everything is gradual, and when you put in that effort, the thing helps you out. So it's like someone pushing you, a natural ride, but with the hand of God pushing you. The other effect is it's a safer ride with less surging, jerking around, and whatnot. You know, when you are in a tight situation, maybe a switchback or a stoplight on a narrow alley, without the torque sensor, basically it's a cadence sensor. All it knows is that you're turning the pedals. So when it turns the pedals, it's going to go full bore into what mode you're in, because it doesn't know how much you need. So it'll just give you what it has, and that could be unsafe. You know, you bump into things. I always crash into things in my garage, or getting out of my side gate right here. Especially if you're out on single track or trails, you know, having a motor that shuts off and on full power is not as safe as one with a torque sensor. The third effect of the torque sensor is it's now more motivating to pedal and get a workout. I have a lot of e-bikes, don't get me wrong, but when I get on my bikes, when I'm testing a bike with no torque sensor, I don't even want to work, because it's kind of self-defeating. You turn the pedals and the thing goes just full boost until you hit the speed limit for that particular mode you're in. So I'm like, you're helping, but it's kind of not really helping. But with a torque sensor, it really matches you 1 for 1 or 1 for 3, whatever you decide, it's going to match you. So you're riding a bike, and it's a lot more motivating to put in an effort. And finally, a great effect of the torque sensor, and this is totally unexpected to me until I started riding it, is it increases the range of the bike. It's crazy. So, and you can see it on the version 1 of this bike, 45 miles is the range on Eco, and on this bike, it's 60 miles. I'm like, how'd that happen? It's the same motor, same battery. Why does it get so much more range? And the torque sensor has a lot to do with that. Instead of it boosting full power every time on the mode that you're in, it's just giving you as much as you want or as much as you need. So it allows you to contribute with your legs quite a bit more, and that really saves a lot of battery. The other thing is they tune the bike a little bit differently to be a more natural ride, a smoother ride. So a lot less jerking and turboing around, and that increases the range. Okay, so what do I think of the bike? It is pretty darn incredible. At $1,899, most of the mountain bikes that I deal with, nothing is under $5,000. So for this to come in at this price, $1,899, it's just amazing to me. And now that it has a torque sensor, if you see my old Aventon reviews, that's pretty much all I complain about, is the lack of the natural feeling torque sensor. But now that it has a torque sensor, it completes the Aventon vision, in my opinion. If you just want to throttle around, you know, and not pedal, then you can get the previous version, or you can get another brand. But if you want to bike and sometimes throttle, this is a really good middle ground. It's really an SUV kind of bike where you could do so much, do some trail riding. Me and my daughter, we did a lot of these city riding and railroad track, path riding. But later on, if you subscribe to this channel, I'm going to take it on a real mountain bike ride and just see what it can do. So I love it with the torque sensor, powerful, 60-mile range. The tires are actually pretty cool, because what it allows you to do, these bikes are built very heavily. They're not no chromoly titanium smooth riding bikes. So if you get cushioning with your tires, then it's gonna really improve your experience. And what I tell people, I ask people when they have fat tires, I go, what's your pressure at? And if they say 20 or 30, I go, oh man, you're doing it wrong. You know, this can go up to like 6 psi, 8 psi. Right now I've been setting it on my test rides to 11 psi. So really have a measuring tool to know, because this is your cushioning, this is your comfort, this is your traction, this is your braking. So, you know, a really good tool. In the step through, I'm not a step through kind of person, but hey, it's convenient, because whenever I have all these bats and RC cars here, you know, it's so easy. You don't have to kick your luggage. So, and the fact that it's so sturdy, I trust it. I trust that it's gonna hold up, not even in the most rugged conditions. Okay, so the other things I love about the bike, integrated lights. And I tell people, always turn on your lights, because that's when you're gonna get hit by a vehicle, because they don't see you. Especially if you're on an e-bike, you're going 25 miles an hour, maybe a little more. You need to be seen. So that is a really good godsend. And you know, the fact that they're in positions where they're very visible is very cool. The computer color display, very good. It's very good. Every version it gets better. The throttle, you know, it does modulate. You can regulate your speed quite well with it. The fenders, they're metal. And why is it metal? So there's less of the shaking going on. They're more, it's a thin, sturdy structure. And let me tell you, during the 100-year flood of Northern California, I've been taking this out and my other Aventon, because they have fenders. I can just stay away from the muddy trails and just cruise the neighborhoods, cruise the creeks and whatnot. The other things about it, the saddle, classic Aventon saddle, it fits most casual behinds very well. You know, I'm used to it. I'm used to like a little saddle with no padding, but this is pretty good. Normally I just replace them, but I go, man, I might even stick with that. Nice bars. And then the brakes are amazing. These are Tektro brakes, 180 mil rotors, and basically, you know, this is a high-end company. You know, mountain bikers might not admit this, but there's a brand called TRP, and very good brakes right now, and that's the same company as Tektro. So this is a brake company with a lot of lineage. Okay, cons, just a short list of cons. One is whenever I turn on the lights, the display turns dim, so I can barely see it. And I wish the lights had a flashing mode. You know, flashing is cool, especially in the US, just so it can be visible. You can be visible 2 or 3 times the length if it's flashing. And then the next con is it's very heavy, 77 pounds. So if you're in a situation where you live on the 2nd floor, or you need to put this on a rack a lot of times, you know, it's too heavy. It might be too heavy for that. I wish there was a bell, you know, to let other users know you're coming. And then the other con is to turn it on, you need to press the battery and then press the switch. So a little downside there. Bottom line, Aventon Adventure 1899. If you want an SUV of bikes, you don't know where you're going, but you know you want to explore, this is a good one. And you know, at the beginning of this video, the old one is still available, and that one I believe is $14.99. So just $14.99 or $59, just a mind-blowing price for a bike of this pedigree. All right, hope you enjoy that, and we'll take it out for a ride, but enjoy my riding video right here. All right, here's a little bit of riding video. Right here is where this bike excels. Smooth, easy going, no jerking, slow if you need it, and really powerful when you need it. Using the rack right there. We brought our lunch to the park. Now off to another adventure. You really discover your neighborhoods with a bike like this, because you can just explore instead of going for a walk. Why don't you go for a bike ride? You get a workout, take the off-beaten path, and then right here is a cool technique. Instead of just pedaling to get it started, you can hit the throttle to get it started, and this is a good trick, especially when you are starting on a steep hill. And here's another mode where you can just do the throttle. You know, if you want to take a break, maybe you want to get your feet wet, keep the pedals level on the tech section, you have that option. Here, climbing a very steep hill, there's about a 12 to 15% grade hill on low gear on eco mode. So as you can see, no problem whatsoever. It looks like eco mode is able to give you a lot of power. Just the top speed is limited. And here is a climb on full power. I doubt that our 10,000 mile bikes can even climb this fast on this hill. So pretty impressive. Alright, last part of this video, we're going to show you the app. You have to turn it on. Like I said, you have to turn on the battery first, and then you can turn on the motor. So it's a little counterintuitive, a little confusing. And then here to do the app, fire up the app. Very great, good Aventon app. You need to pair into scan, and the way to do it is to get into system setup. You press the plus and minus button together, and there you get to the system menu and go to the pairing mode, scan code, and take a photo of that. And now your phone and your bike are talking to each other. You name it. And what's really cool about this app is you can turn on the lights, you see the battery level, you can change it from a class 3 to a class 1 bike, you can change the top speed if you want, got a bit of power. And then on one of the menus you can record your ride. So just like Strava or Map My Ride, this thing has a record my ride function. And it even has some community social media where you can interact with other Aventon owners. So right here, we're checking the top speed, if there's a speed limiter. It is at 28 miles an hour. So got the full speed, mile per hour, kilometer per hour. So a very easy way to configure your bike is with a phone and not just a computer. Hope you enjoyed that. Thanks a ton, guys.